What's up, guys? I'm Chris. This is my 96 Tomos Targa LX, and I'm going to make a video about putting a bigger carburetor on it and then modifying the stock airbox instead of putting a new one on so it's not quite as loud. The current setup is a 70cc Airsal big bore kit, biturbo, 28 tooth front sprocket, and unfortunately still the stock SHA 1412 carb with the restricting intake. And that's what I'm going to show you how to replace both those items, and then not replace this with something like unipod, foam, or K&N wire, because those are really loud and you want to keep this, if possible, it's engineered well. There's positive air pressure coming in through the middle of the thing. It's quiet, you can bore out your snorkel, and I'm going to try adding a second snorkel instead of replacing the whole air intake. What you see here is my 21mm Dellorto PHBG carburetor from Treatland. Shout out to Benji, all those guys there are awesome, very helpful, knowledgeable, go with them every day. So I got the carb and the rubber tubing because it's a BD, B for rubber mounting and D for right-sided screws, and it's going to fit on that intake on the right side of my bike. Yeah, right angles are not a good idea, but I'll give up a little power to have it quiet because now I can connect it to my stock intake. So when you hold that up, it's still too far. I gotta have it back to there somehow. And magic! Just gonna clean that up now with this tool. Alright, I got it cleaned up. It's about a ½ inch too short still, so I think I'm gonna not use this adapter. I'm gonna switch it back to the one it came with and try to get that to fit directly onto the stock airbox. So I've opened this up and widened it towards the top, which is where the carburetor naturally wants to sit when you hook it up the way I have it. I just did that using a blade and a jigsaw. Alright, so that middle part with the screw-on threads, we'll be able to screw onto this. I made 2 snorkels out of rubber hosing. Also a custom-made gasket out of a piece of rubber hosing that I unrolled and cut to make fit, so to block all the air and also hold that in place, so I can slide these up and down and then glue it all in place when I get the thing perfectly fit on the bike. Now opening it up, you'll see your familiar insides. This had to be opened up a little bit. Same with that. But once you make it all fit, it literally just looks like 2 next to each other of the original size snorkel. They just happen to be about the same size. A lot of you will say, oh, that's not enough flow. Well, it is enough, and I'll show you why. So skip 3 minutes if you don't want to learn math and physics. Right here, this is 21mm diameter, and that's your limiting point. As long as you have at least that much or more in the system coming through the snorkels, you're not actually going to be losing much airflow. So the total area here has to equal the total area coming through your carburetor, or more. But ideally, if you have it, try to use a 21mm snorkel. If you can make one or something, because that would exactly equal your carburetor input. Maybe you could go a little bit bigger if you are worried, but you don't have to. Here's my 15mm, and there are 2 of them. So what we're going to do, first let's say that volumetric flow rate, how much airflow you have, volume over time, is equal to velocity of that air that's flowing, times area. And area is pi r squared, so your velocity times pi r squared. And if you're comparing ratios, you don't really care about anything except your areas. So pi r squared, we're going to compare the pi r squared of this one to this one and see if I have enough area and therefore flow rate through my 2 snorkels. So this would be, radius is half of diameter, so 10.5 millimeters. Pi r squared would be 346.4 square millimeters. So we need to have this equal at least 346.4 square millimeters. That is indeed larger than that. So I'm good if you're using ideal an ideal gas concept of everything flows fluidly through different stuff, which is about right with a small tube. Before, what I'm saying is, yeah, theoretically, one 21mm diameter pipe does not give you the same amount of flow as 2 15mm ones. However, we're starting with more area to begin with, so that should about compensate it. So this might actually be perfect, and I don't really want to calculate all that out. But if you're really worried about it and you have a bunch of smaller pipes and you need to deal with adding more airflow, theoretically also as you decrease the length, you'll increase fluid flow by the same amount. So cut 10% off your pipe, cut a couple millimeters off, 10%, and you'll add 10% of fluid flow. But I'm not worried about it. I have more than enough area, and it's going to work fine. Let's see how it goes. Alright, so I did finish it up. I had to cut another 1/4 inch off this pipe and off the carb, which I didn't want to have to do, but it worked out. I got a new line with a filter in there, and as you can see, it is with the stock airbox, and it's so quiet compared to how loud it could be. I can even tell. Still got to mount a handle Right now my pull choke is literally a pull choke. It's been 3 weeks. I finally had time to tune it. I ended up going with an 80 main jet, a 40 idle, and I kept the W16, but it's on the leanest setting. I think since you guys saw this, I knocked the seat forward, dropped the handlebars, and went black on the biturbo. Alright, let's go for a ride. Definitely one of the faster, quieter fast mopeds you've probably seen. So good luck with your moped, and ask questions if you want, and I hope you enjoyed the video.